Ooh. It's like a rockin' into New Year's Eve celebration music. Tell me that doesn't sound celebratory.
Is this new?
It's new.
Did you check with me?
I did not check with you. Are you okay with it?
Do I have a choice at this point?
At this point, we're 30 seconds in, so you don't. Welcome to Plate and Ponder, Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. It is just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. We are doing a little pod before the New Year's Eve celebrations start tonight. We have had already a really nice, fun New Year's Eve day lunch with the Chitlins.
Yeah, we did. We decided we'd have a little foursome late lunch, make sure that they had some substance in their bellies before they went out and they partied with their friends. And we had a nice time. We had a nice time chatting with them. It's rainy here in Southern California, and I think we're getting ready to go out to a dinner ourselves.
100%. And we're starting to think about old acquaintance be. Is it old acquaintance be forgotten?
I don't know.
What does that song mean?
It always reminds me of that scene in When Harry Met Sally, which then makes me think of Rob Reiner, which then goes down this like wicked path of all the people that we've lost in 2025. So I don't know if we need to do that. Perhaps we should just have like a Q&A session and not talk about anything serious, i.e. Epstein, i.e. the way our president has gone off the rails, i.e. the Somalians who have been smuggling money for
Are we moving into alarm territory?
I sort of feel like we are. I just feel like the world is coming apart, and I don't want to end 2025 that way. So I think we just connect as empty nesters. I think we just connect as a couple who people actually find enjoyable to listen to. How many countries are we in now?
We're in 28, which is pretty good. If you didn't listen to the last podcast, we are giving shout outs to Bangladesh, Spain, and Hungary, who have joined the pack of listening to Plate and Ponder.
I'm super impressed with us. High five, baby.
Hey,
nice.
High five in the house.
All right, so can we just go light? Because there's just so much ickiness right now.
Well, I will say one of the great things about the holiday time, with all this distractions of family and especially as empty nesters, you get all the extra chaos in the house and all that other kind of stuff. It's really fun because it distracts you from the everyday social media feeds that maybe some of us check out, or maybe way too much online website checking out, or various other things that occur.
It's called online surfing.
Online surfing.
Or as the kids would call it, rotting.
But what I love is the college football that continues to be playing. And we're in the middle of watching a Michigan-Texas game that's very close. We saw a Vanderbilt game that was quite close. There's been a lot of good games. In fact, last night, TCU pulled off a big upset against my school of professorial choice, USC. That was a bit of a bummer because I thought we had them.
Is that a professorial choice, or is that just who pays you?
Actually, I guess it was the only school that offered me a professorial. No, actually, there were a couple others,
true.
But yeah, it's my professorial choice,
okay,
USC.
That's fair.
And they did not win; they should have won, and that's a real buzzkill, to tell you the truth. Although we have Jenna Brodkin, who's been on the show, who went to TCU, so we're happy for her.
Go Horned Frogs.
Go Horned Frogs. So, okay, I guess we do that banter thing. Wait, give us a quick recap, because there were some fun things we did over the last few days. I know we touched upon them when we were on with Jenna and Phil and Katie Brodkin, because they were with us, but we did a really fun thing, which is something we learned during the COVID period, which I think anybody on any budget could probably do, which is
high or low.
Yeah. Literally, it's funny because what we wanted to do was lock up, and we did this with COVID. We had 3 families with kids roughly all around the same age, and we
literally
rented
the same age, and they were all best friends, and they hung out together, and they were all in the same classes, and the boys were all in lacrosse together, and the girls were in cheerleading together, and it was really easy.
Right. But I remember when we were like, okay, let's VRBO a place where all of us could stay. And of course, all of us, like a lot of people, automatically migrate to the hot spots where everybody wants to VRBO.
And we did that initially.
We did that
the
initially.
Park Cities. We've done Cabo.
No, but I'm just saying, like for that COVID time, and we were looking at it and we were going, oh my God, this is like really expensive. And then on top of it, we were like, wait, why are we going to a place that everybody goes to? Because we're not able to go to restaurants or bars or any of that stuff. It was COVID. So what happens if we find a spectacular house in the middle of a uncool area or a place that's like a little less hot?
Hold on. I think you're spinning it and you're totally sharing it the
But
wrong
what
way.
I'm trying to say is that anybody on any budget can do this.
Yeah, anybody on any budget can do this, but the way you're selling it, it sort of sounds like a crap trip.
No, it was a fantastic trip. That was the point.
No. I'm not saying that, but the way you're selling it was like, oh, we're going to come up with the B location. No, we just came up with different locations. So we definitely did, as I said, the Park Cities. We definitely did the Cabos. We definitely did the Palm Springs, but then we also deviated. So like for this trip, we went to Fallbrook, which is just by Escondido, which is just by Temecula. And for those who are not necessarily familiar with Southern California, it's kind of towards San Diego area. And it's their quote unquote wine country. It's not Napa by any means. I wouldn't even say it's Paso Robles. Yeah, no. I don't even think I would say that, but it
very
is
laid back,
it's super
down.
Cool. And we got this great house and the 2 families were there and we brought our dogs. And really the intent was to kidnap our children for 3 days and to hold them hostage, which is exactly what we did. And I mean that in the best sense of the word, right? Like I'm not a weird, creepy person. But we all hung out together. We had breakfast. We had a yoga instructor come to the house. We went to a vineyard and went wine tasting. We cooked dinners together. The last night we had one of those hibachi chefs come in. We went swimming. We played games at night. We watched a movie. It was so much fun.
You know what I'll actually do, because we did like the hosts, and I'll put the in the show notes. I'll put the website for this particular VRBO.
Great. It had a slide. It had an infrared sauna, which Katie and I took advantage of every day.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
No, it was, imagine a beautiful Hamptons house, but in an area that's, much more laid back. So, yes, it was a beautiful house. It was on 4 acres. It had a pool and a water slide, and it had cornhole, and it had wiffle ball
garden,
and
like
orange grove,
orange grove,
hiking trails, and
it was great.
Pickleball and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool, but it was also not outlandish. So it was a lot of fun. It was
a lot of fun. And like I said, we kidnapped our kids, we held them hostage, and we had the best time.
Oh, and how about the fact they were like, why are we going away? Like, we want to hang out with our friends. We're going to have FOMO.
They never said that.
Well, they were hinting a little bit. Like,
maybe
why are we going away?
That's a story in your head.
Really? I thought they asked that question a couple of times.
I think our kids are cooler than you think.
Okay. All right. But I thought we got a couple of the, like, I don't understand why we're going away.
Well, I think.
And what happened, my point is, they loved it. We all loved it.
We all loved it. The dogs even loved it. I mean, we were kind of hiking the property. We had them off leash, and they were just running around
until dusk.
Until dusk, and that's when you started to hear the coyotes.
Oh my God!
We pulled in quickly.
If you ever seen the Blair Witch Project, that scary sort of shriek and noise that you hear, and it scares the crap out of you. Well, when coyotes are howling at dusk, there is nothing more frightening. I mean, I can only imagine what like a caveman and cavewoman thought back in the day before they knew what that was. They probably
our puppy was scared.
Oh yes, very scared. Anyway, so that was I just wanted to touch on that because we'll put it in the show notes where we stayed, and
I guess
high
to your
recommend.
Point, you don't always need to do like the 5-star hotel and the plane
100%.
flight. And
that was my point.
That was your point. Okay,
yeah.
But you didn't
just
sell
get the group together.
Right, I get it, but you weren't selling it well.
Okay, well, I will. You know what?
But that's your
I
job.
will learn
like
the marketing and promotion from you. No, I was just trying to be real.
You're trying to be real. I'm being real, but okay, cool. So can I play a little Would You Rather?
Yes.
Okay. Would you
Is
rather...
it the PG-13 version?
I'm going to make it the PG.
Okay.
Would you rather see into the future or travel back in time? And this is kind of, I feel like this is so Stranger Things, like with Vecna and everything.
Well, seeing into the future, but you can't do anything about it?
I don't know.
Because that was Cassandra's.
That's not the second part of the
curse.
question. The only question I have is, would you rather see into the future or travel back in time?
Huh. Well, you could get super wealthy seeing into the future, and you could do a lot of things that you wish you did by going into the past. So what's more important to me? I think there are certain things that I would love to replay and do again because they were so much fun the first time.
Or did you have any regrets? Like, what are your top 3 regrets?
Well, I can tell you one regret that I always think about was not going to airborne school when I was Army ROTC between my freshman and sophomore year in college, because I was invited to go, and instead I wanted to hang out with all my buddies and paint houses and hang out and drink beer in Glastonbury, Connecticut, which was a heck of a lot of fun. But I always thought about, like, what if I went to airborne school and just did something that very few people get to do?
Okay, so that's a regret.
Bummed about that one.
What's another regret?
Another one is when I would say it would have changed the trajectory of everything. But when I think about the importance of mentors in a career and how protected I was under one particular mentor at the William Morris Agency, and when he asked me at the ripe old age when I was 24 years old to run cable packaging there, under his guidance and sort of tutelage, I turned that down and became a motion picture agent.
Because that was sexy? Like, ooh,
it was way
picture?
sexier. And then when I think about that and the fact that I was offered an opportunity to run the London television office to take the place of a guy named Ben Silverman there, that was another regret, because mainly at the age of 24, those were huge positions, but movies was a lot sexier and cooler, and I wanted to go out to clubs and hang out with friends and do that thing.
But
and
we
then
would
the
have never
second
met.
thing was,
if you took the job in London, we would have never met.
Yeah, and the idea at the age of 24, even though it was a big job to go to London, which at that point in my life I had never been to Europe. I didn't go to Europe until the year 2000, or just before the year 2000.
Right before we met, right?
Yeah, right before we met.
In fact, wait a minute. I just realized tonight is the anniversary of when we first met. We met 26 years ago.
That is unbelievable.
Wow.
And you're more beautiful now than ever.
Aw, thanks.
Except for the fact that you made me get rid of the leather pants I was wearing that night. And I could still fit in them, I bet. Maybe not. But I will say the idea of going to London at the age of 24, when I was living in LA and sort of seemed to have it all, at least the way I saw it back then, and going to cold, gloomy London, it didn't seem right. But like, I think of the trajectories both of those job turndowns were, that could have been very interesting. It would have been very different, and I would not have met you, which would have been terrible, which means our kids would not be my kids. It would be somebody else's kids. And then the whole thing gets really weird to think about.
That's like a full sliding door moment.
Yeah. And I would say the one other regret I have is the fact that I sort of wish I never entered the world of litigating against a former employer. That was, even though I was in the right and I won, that was the biggest energy vampire drain suck of life you could ever imagine. And I will give a shout out to anybody that is thinking of entering the world of litigation or even divorce. Do not do it.
Don't do it. Sucked.
It does not benefit anyone except for the racket of that whole charade.
It's bonkers.
Anyway,
okay.
So you asked me what those regrets.
You want to know 2 of my biggest regrets?
What?
I actually think you know.
Yeah, one of them's a little personal, I think, but...
The honeymoon?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, which one's that? Say it.
Well, we did not go to North Africa when we were on our honeymoon down in Marbella and
we were at the southern.
Portobanos.
We were at the southern tip of Spain, so going to northern Africa would have been just like a hop, skip, and a jump. And we were told not to. We were told it was not advisable, in those exact words. And we listened, and unfortunately, we did not actually get there. And it's still to this day one of our biggest regrets.
Well, we'll still get to the continent of Africa.
hope
We have
so.
not done it yet.
And that's actually going to be a would you rather question, so we can pause on that. I think another one of my biggest regrets is probably not having 3 kids.
Yeah, that's a personal one, I guess. And I mean, I think, we've talked about it before. Almost every
we would be totally different. I mean,
almost everybody I know has 3 kids, has the third one. It's a little off the rails, but
and we would never be able to do this empty nesting show because we wouldn't be empty nesters.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't be empty. And oh my God, think about that. We would not be able to do this right now. Unless we had one that was older than the ones we have.
Yeah, but that wasn't in our cards either. We had the twins first.
Yes.
Okay, here's another one. Would you rather never have a haircut or never shower again?
I like to shower, so I would go never having a haircut, I guess. And the beauty of me is I have hair, but not a lot of it, so it would get greasy and gross, I think, after it got super long, and I'd look very weird. But yes, I would go with that.
Okay, I know how you're going to answer this one.
What would you rather do?
Oh, 100% never have a haircut. I need a shower.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't shower for one day. You know, sometimes when you're really sick and you can't get out of bed, like when you had COVID, and just the idea of getting in the shower and like the water hitting your skin, and that to me, not being able to shower for 24 hours, that like when we take a plane flight and we travel to Europe and we can't shower for 13 hours, that's just weird to me.
Oh, I'll never forget. I had to do that congressional delegation trip to China, and one of the members of Congress, Alan Lowenthal from Long Beach, great guy. He flew in from a wedding in Cape Cod. I met him at LAX with his beautiful wife, and they had to connect to Beijing with me. Was that
a direct flight at that point?
To Beijing
Nonstop?
It was,
okay.
But not from, obviously Cape Cod to LA was another one. So he hadn't taken a shower. They hadn't taken showers then, and then they hadn't taken a shower by the time we got to Beijing. And then we had to go straight to the U.S. Embassy for meetings.
This is like my worst.
The airport. And I said to you, I was like, I need to have all that like dry shampoo, everything,
shampoo.
because like
baby wipes.
I cannot sit on an Air China flight and go straight to meetings and not go to the hotel until like 8:00 that night. It was the worst.
I can't even.
Ugh. God. And then I was thinking about him. I was like, oh my God, he's been going even longer. Showering, key.
Okay. Would you rather give up?
Oh, I'll give you one more, by the way.
Yeah.
When I watch movies like Dune.
Yeah, they're always so dirty.
Ew, Timothée Chalamet literally hasn't taken a shower his whole life. Like, ugh.
No.
Anyway, just that kind of thing.
Yeah. Would you rather give up social media or streaming services?
I would give up streaming services.
Okay, and I would give up social media. I think the streaming services has significantly changed the trajectory of my evenings. Like after work, you come, you sit down, like we do our dinners, we do our walk with the dog. Sometimes we podcast, and we just want to chill out. Having streaming services is like having the world at your fingertips. We can decide we want to watch Selling Manhattan. We can watch Real Housewives. We can watch Landman. We can watch, a documentary on, any given subject. I feel like the streaming services is huge.
Yeah, I think the difference for me is me, like I need to be more participating and vocal, and like, spectating is not my forte. So that's what streaming services are to me, is like watching.
So I feel like social media is the exact same thing.
No, I don't do reels and stuff. Like I post a lot, like on Twitter and, not really as much on Instagram, but Twitter or X, I post a lot. So
Okay, you are definitely not a voyeur, and you definitely don't watch, but I do, the way I use social media, I am a voyeur and I'm very passive on it, which is why giving that up to me is kind of a no-brainer if I could then have streaming services.
yeah. And I'm with you. And I think a lot of people are nervous on social media. We know a lot of people that actually still refuse to have sort of active social media accounts. And I get that. If we were 20 years ago, I 100% understand that, because it's essentially like, oh, I'm nervous about people knowing what my thoughts are, what I'm thinking. Like, I might say something stupid. I might, post something, blah, 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 blah. I think in today's world, and particularly in tomorrow's world, everything you do is going to be essentially known about at some point. So, I sort of feel like just always live as if there's a microphone in front of your mouth, and always assume that every one of your emails is going to be read, or text messages are going to be read. And, that hopefully curbs the way you converse in a way that's actually respectful and makes sense and constructive and all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
you have taught me that, and I am very cognizant, although it doesn't always register, that when I'm sending a text, even in my most passive aggressive way, it could be read, and it will most likely be read in the wrong tone.
Yeah. And and the other thing I'll say is that anything, I would argue that almost any conversation you have can be taken out of context and made look pretty bad. So that's a hard one to sort of live by too, is the fact that people can manipulate stuff, even if you are really well-intentioned, and always act as if there's a microphone in front of you. And we even know that with photos, because as we've noticed, you can actually put Jeffrey Epstein next to your favorite family member
crazy.
In a photo that looks exactly real and as if they're there in person.
Yeah.
And we've seen also people trick fathers into thinking there was something in the Epstein files with them in it, and having fathers go on the defensive saying, I don't remember what I was doing. That was 1994. I was drunk. I didn't realize he was at that party. Oh my God. No. That's not real. It's actually a fake photo. Oh, thank God. So anyway.
Okay, I have two more would you rathers, and then I think I want to talk about some reflective questions. Okay, I know how I would answer this question. Have a magical refrigerator that refills, or a bed that gives you the perfect sleep?
Well, I would say if you're eating really well, you're going to sleep well.
Okay.
So having anything you want in a always replenished food fantasy refrigerator, I would go with.
I call bullshit on that one, because no matter what, are you gonna buzz me?
No.
Okay. No, I call BS on that one, because sometimes life just happens and you're stressed, or you can't sleep, or you wake up, or you have a nightmare, or your hormones, because you're premenopausal, are going crazy. And sometimes you just don't get a good night's sleep. So personally, if you're asking me, one of my favorite things to do is actually go to the market. I love it. It is one of like my weekly Sunday rituals, and I can prepare for the week and sort of, recipe out what we're doing and what we're eating. A perfect night's sleep to me is heavenly. I honestly don't remember the last time I got a full night's sleep.
I'm gonna go the opposite way. I love the idea of having a cornucopia. Is that what it's called? A cornucopia, where like it's
food?
full of stuff. I like that idea, because falling asleep has never been an issue for me. The issue I have is sometimes waking up in the middle of the night because I got to take a pee, because I have a 54-year-old bladder, and I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. But no matter how much I dehydrate myself, I still got to pee in the middle of the night. And then if I hit the pillow and I start to think about anything that needs to get done, boom, adrenaline shot through the gut.
Right.
And I'm up and at 'em, ready to go.
So wouldn't you rather have a perfect night's sleep than a refrigerator that automatically fills itself?
No, I'm going to go with the refrigerator.
Okay, we differ. And that's fine, and that's why we're married, I suppose. Opposites attract. Okay, here's the last one. And I think this is a powerful one. Would you rather have an incredibly successful life that's been planned out for you, or wake up every day being able to do anything you want? That's a tough one, right? I mean, I know how I would answer that question.
That's a mind explosion question. Well, my whole life has been almost the opposite in many ways of how I planned it in my head. Almost everything has happened because of just life occurring, doors opening, me going into one door instead of another. It always sort of being quite an adventure, quite colorful, somewhat successful in most cases.
Stop. No, you were very successful. Don't minimize.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's sort of gets me off that whole,
Living each day to
not
the
sure
fullest.
what card I'm picking up next. I like that. I mean, I've always planned for things, but I've noticed that life is what happens while you're busy making plans, as I think that was John Lennon said. So I'm going to go with every day is a new adventure and you can do whatever you want.
Being able to do anything you want. What
Yeah.
do you think I would answer?
You're definitely going to be 100% planned and there's no other way around it.
It freaks me out not to
Yes.
have a plan. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I have a plan A, I have a plan B, and I am always percolating a plan C just in case, because I need that. That makes me feel secure. That makes me thrive. So not having something to do, not having something planned out totally puts me into a tizzy.
I will 100% agree with you on that.
I don't
one.
even know what to do with myself on days when I don't have something to do.
Yeah, it's sort of, you know what? In a way, it's a little like I was trying to find a song that sort of is the way I approach life now. It's like
You're
sort
a
of like
leprechaun?
yeah, just sort of like dancing around, having fun, looking in opposite directions, seeing what door looks good to open next. Right?
I mean, that could be our motto for 2026. I can try.
Well, I can see the planned one is more like this.
Yeah, that feels about right.
That way. Gotta go that way. That's where it's
I
gonna
know,
happen.
but it feels secure and it feels safe.
Open that door. And now I'm off to the races.
Yeah.
Right?
That doesn't bother me. I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie.
Well, that is a really good question, I gotta say, because I had to think about it for a sec. So thank you.
Do you want to continue on the question since it's New
Yes,
Year's Eve?
I would love to.
What moment from this year still makes you smile when you think about it?
That's a tough one. I think, well, I guess it was it this year where Kaylee did that video with Jackson Strokey and they got accepted into Tulane?
Yeah, when they did
Was
their
that this
ED.
year?
Yeah, it was this year.
Or was that last year?
I guess it was last year because it was in November of 2024.
That put a huge smile on my face. I would also say watching Dylan score his first collegiate goal, I think put a huge smile on my face.
Those are good.
Yeah, those are, I guess they both included my kids. I will also say the photo that you and I took in front of the Eiffel Tower was really
that was such
joyful.
a good trip. That was joyful. That really was good.
We were both in fantastic. Sometimes you go in waves on these like trips overseas because everybody's got a little, jet lag and, you haven't slept enough or, you're in between eating or you're stuck in like a long walk or whatever it is, a line or whatever
but
it is.
that was such a beautiful day.
Yeah, that was just one of those moments where I had a great
can I
smile
add
on my
another
face.
one?
And even the photo showed that
It
really
did.
well.
Can I add another one?
Yeah.
Watching the kids on the Strand stroll. So in Manhattan Beach, the day the kids graduate, everybody who is in the senior class goes from one pier in Hermosa Beach to another pier in Manhattan Beach. And you see all the kids in their caps and their gowns, and you're with your friends and you're with your family, and you're standing along the strand and you're looking at the ocean, and you're looking at all of these kids that you've probably known, maybe since high school, maybe since middle school, a lot of them since elementary school. And there's pride, not just for your own kid, but for all of these other kids that you've watched grow up, and a little bit of like a woohoo, I did it. You know, I got my kids to this point, and celebrating with the entire community, because it's not just parents who are watching this moment. It's literally the entire Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach community. So that was a really, really beautiful moment that still makes me smile.
Yeah, and I would also say that, you know, it was one of those universal moments too, because you have, as you age, you know, and as you know people over your lifetime, a lot of people have essentially stages of their life that are occurring simultaneously. So we had lots of friends around the country that were all going through the exact same thing, with the kids graduating high school around the same time. So it was, and that was another reason why I like social media, is you got to see all these people that you've known all the years, and to pay attention to what's going on in their kid's life. And you're like, oh my God, we're doing the same thing. And the next thing you know, you reconnect. Oh my God, we're empty nesting now. Oh my God, we just had them graduate. You know, so it's sort of a nice collective feeling of humanity, which we talk about a lot, that I think the world needs more of.
I like that.
Shout out to humanity.
All right. We haven't lost all hope. Can I give another question?
Yeah, please.
What is something new you discovered or figured out this year?
Well, I'm going to say what we're doing right now.
Right?
We actually were trying to figure out what we were going to do for a hobby to fill some extra time that we didn't have before. And I think we came up with a bunch of ideas, and the idea of podcasting I thought was really interesting, because I think we have a very relevant, relatable story as a couple and as a family to many of others. And I think we have interesting backgrounds where, you know, we come at it from different points of view, with your elected, you know, official status and education background and lawyer background, and your upbringing here in Southern California, mine from the East Coast, and, you know, professor and, you know, producer and all that kind of stuff. And then I think we related to a lot of things that people all around the country and in 28 other countries can relate to. And what was interesting about it was it's one thing to sit in front of microphones and think you can actually talk about stuff for 35, 40 minutes. But it's another thing to go out and figure out, oh, I got to buy a mixing board. Oh, I got to buy a bunch of different apps and programs. Oh, I got to get different microphones and all these wires and figure it out, all that stuff, and sound effects. And like, so you're sort of figuring out this hobby almost as if learning an instrument or something.
I agree.
What about you?
Gosh, that's a tough one. That I discovered or figured out about myself this year, that I like being alone. And I know that sounds really weird. I enjoy being married to you. I enjoy being a mom, but I also enjoy somewhat like the calmness of not having that daily, okay, I get up at 6 o'clock. I got to work out before the kids get up. I got to make their breakfast. Got to make sure their lunch is made. Got to make sure that they're out of the door at a certain time. I head to work, get my stuff done at work, make sure I get home in time so I can cook dinner, to make sure that they're fed before their afternoon activities. Like, I've kind of enjoyed a little bit of the simplicity, which is almost ironic, because I said I don't like having a plan, and all of those things were very much plan based. But it's been kind of nice not to have that. And I've really enjoyed not subscribing to a schedule that we did for, 18 plus years.
I think the art of being alone is one that is a really important art to learn, because the art of being alone is completely different than feeling lonely.
Absolutely.
Right? And I remember learning it vividly, because I was one of those guys in college that felt like, oh my God, I can't go to the dining hall without, showing up with a couple buddies and, hanging out with them and all that kind of stuff. And it used to be stressful to try to figure out, because with everybody's schedule and sports and fraternity stuff and whatever, how do you meet up, And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go get like my ski magazines or whatever and just go and hang out at the dining hall and eat. And every time I went, I would end up running into a bunch of people and sitting down with them. But every once in a while, there was nobody in there I knew. And I would just sit down and read something leisurely while I ate. And it was sort of bliss. It was blissful. It was, I think, the first time where I started to learn how nice it is at times to be alone and I guess not meditating with your own thoughts, because I wasn't meditating, but just be there to collectively sort of pull, all the thoughts and the experiences that happen throughout the day into your world while you're eating, and just sort of chill out.
Thank you for sharing that.
Right. Well, what about you?
I shared. I've got another question for you.
Yeah.
What is something you feel proud of yourself for, even if no one noticed?
Well, that's interesting. Well, every once in a while, I put my heart and soul into a published opinion opinion piece, and I will never forget that. I mean, I've written a bunch that have done well as far as viewership, but the one that I thought was the absolute best, including the editor at Real Clear Politics, was one where I said Luke Combs and Tracy Chapman showed, I forgot what the title was, showed how beautiful America can be, right? And that was at the Grammys in, I think, 2023, where they sang Fast Car together.
Such a good rendition.
Yeah, and I just remember it was obviously visually, it's black and white, singing harmoniously together a song about, the difficulties of life. And I was thinking about the people that liked each artist and how different they were in a lot of ways. Yet they both could come together over how beautiful the music was that these two people from very different parts of America, the beauty that they brought together by singing together. And that's the melting pot of what the United States of America is supposed to be. And I wrote an op-ed about it, and the editor, Carl Cannon at Real Clear Politics, was like, this is fantastic. I'm putting it out tomorrow. And I put it out. And it was probably the least trafficked opinion piece I've ever had.
Really? I thought that, but it was really a beautiful piece. And you got so much praise for that single op-ed. I
think that was from maybe the bubble of my friends and family that read it. I can tell you, it was probably the lowest viewed piece I've written in my career. And actually, to tell you the truth, I was very proud of it, but it also brought me a little sorrow too, because
you didn't get the acclaim?
Well, ego wise, I could go, ooh, wow, people didn't like something I was really proud of. That's a buzzkill. But actually, I guess I'd be lying if that wasn't a part of it. But really, the bigger part that I was sad about was, oh my God, people don't care about, what I thought was really important about humanity, the melting pot of America, the beauty of what that was, what it signified. They would rather pieces that talk about dissension and, the polarization and people angry and frustrated about stuff and whatever. That was the part that made me a little sad.
I get that.
So anyway, I guess what I'll put out there for going into 2026 is that people do care about pieces like that better.
I think they do. More. I think they do. And I hope that we are more, we're more open to conversation. Right? Because for so long, we've definitely been opposed to hearing the other side or hearing anything that doesn't agree, that, people don't agree with our stance, our politics, our religion, fill in the blank. We've definitely been bifurcated. So hopefully we can continue the conversation. We can be open and we can listen. I think that was really well said. And
as you were saying it, I started to put on that inspirational going into 2026 music that it makes me feel really hopeful about the future. And the fact that even though I picked going backwards in time over going into the future, I'm now starting to think I'd like to go into the future because it's going to be wonderful.
2026, here we come, baby.
We are Plate and Ponder, Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. Please follow, review, enjoy, download, tell all your friends. And yeah, I'll put that op-ed in the episode notes along with the VRBO that we had a lot of fun at. So
Happy
until
New
next
Year.
time, Happy New Year.